visits with the groups and meets the groups here and teaches on Skype. People come on his channel and hear his Torah, teaching of the faith. Rabbi Moshe.
Introduction that way. Anyway, I know you're all cold here standing on the mountain, but I just want to explain to you a little bit what brought us here. Why did we come here to this very, very special location? Right now we are reading in the book of Genesis. We're reading, we have a custom as Jews that we read every week the portion of the week. And we complete throughout a year a cycle of the biblical stories. Every year we go through the Bible stories. And right now we're reading about the very formation of the people of Israel, where it all began. We all know it began with a story we read about just a couple of weeks ago, a very famous person called Abraham. And Abraham was living in an area called Mesopotamia, in a place called Ur Kasdim. And if I look to my left now, right now it's a bit hazy, it's getting dark, but on that range over there, that mountain range across from us is called the Mountains of Gilead. And beyond those mountains is the Jabbok Crossing, and beyond the Jabbok Crossing, we go all the way to a place called, does anyone know where? Ur Kasdim. That's on the Euphrates River up in the northern Syria. And that's where Abram was born. But God says to Abraham, I don't want you to stay in exile. I want you to come back to the land of Israel, to God's special promised land. And God was telling Abraham a very special message, that he can build, you know what a Chabad house is? You know what that is? Well, if you travel throughout the United States, there are a lot of them. Chabad sets up a little house where they have Jewish studies and they reach out to people around the world. And the idea is to reach out to Jews all over the world. But God was telling Abraham, you got to come to the land of Israel. You have to be a light, not from afar in exile, but I want you to come to the land of Israel, my land. And from here, it's, as it says in Isaiah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. From Zion, the Torah will go forth all around the world. Will come out of Zion, from the land of Israel. And Abraham comes out of Mesopotamia, and he's coming with Sarah and with his nephew Lot and the whole wonderful people that he brought under the wings of heaven. And they're walking along one of the valleys over here. And God says, Abraham, go to the place I will show you. And then, you know what the verse says in Genesis 12? It says, Vayavo Avram ba'aretz ad mekom Shechem ad Eilon Moreh. Abraham came to the land, the place of Shechem, Eilon Moreh. Right now, as we stand over here, we have a perfect view of the first place going back 3,800 years ago, in the times of Abraham. Well, I'm talking about 3,800 years ago before. Think about how far away we're talking about time. Where Abraham first stood over here and walked on this land. You can imagine what it was like with his convoy with Sarah thousands of years ago. This area is what serves as a magnet. The Jewish people throughout history never forgot our homeland. Although we were scattered around the world, in every country of the world, Israel was scattered. But we always prayed 3 times a day that our eyes will behold the return of Zion. And those words were constantly ringing in our hearts and coming out of our mouths. And God gave us a blessing. And we returned to the land of Israel. In 1948, we were able to establish again a government, a country. And today we're standing here on a mountain that is testifying that our unbreakable history is continuing to this very, very day over here that you're standing here.
Amen.
So for us, it is literally return home. We feel that we've come home again. And this gave us the power and the energy as a community to establish our community called Itamar below over here. Itamar is a very special community. We're about even under 300 families, close to 300 families that is scattered in different hilltops over here. That our common ground basically is the love for the land, the love for God's word, the love for the people, the love of humanity, to build a community that will be an example to all.
Amen.
And we focus on different areas. I don't know how many people are on our bus, but we spoke a little bit about, one hand we focus on agriculture. We believe that we have to revive the land. The land has to come and be revived. We always give an example. If you look right over here at these 2 beautiful mountains, we're looking at the mountains of the blessing and the mountains of the curse. You read about it in the book of Deuteronomy, where God tells Moses to tell when the people of Israel entered the land under Joshua, because Moses doesn't enter this part of the land, You will receive the covenant on two mountains. On the mount on the right, which is Mount Abel, the mount which represents the curse. On the mount on the left, the mount of the blessing represents, of course, the blessing, Hagrizim. And you receive the covenant in the land of Israel. But here, if you compare this to the Sinai covenant, it's a little different than the Sinai covenant. Does you know why it's different? Think about it. How is this different than Sinai? Number one, how many mountains were there in Sinai? One mountain. How many mountains are there here? Two. Two mountains. Number two, on Sinai, where was the leader? He was on top of the mountain. Moses was on top of the mountain. Here, the exact opposite. Where are the leaders? They were in the valley, in the base of the mountain, where the tribes stood on both sides, 6 tribes on each of the mountaintops. Now, if we compare that, it's very interesting. What happens if you take Moses on top of the mountain, you go down to the valley, and all the people here? That's a pyramid. And here, it's a reverse pyramid, like this. You put them together, what do you have?
Star of David.
Star of David. Now, here in the land, God is standing here and telling us, if you follow my word, you will be blessed. If we look around the world today, how much suffering is going on in the world today? How much bloodshed is going on in the world today? Terrible. People are so far away from the King of the universe. So far of that important relationship with God in the world. And God is promising us, if we stand together and we build that, we take Sinai, we superimpose it on the mountains of the blessing and the curse, we will build a nation of love, a nation of walking with God. Right here. You are witness to this very, very special location right over here in front of you. This is just part of the area. Again, this area is very, very special in our history, but much more than history, because in Judaism, we always say, people call us as Jews, they say, you're the people of the book.
Yes.
And we say to ourselves, no, we're the people of life. Because the book, as long as the book, it's going to collect dust and it's going to sit on a shelf. But you want to take that book and you want to actually walk that book and live that book. So we're known as the people of life. I'm happy to invite you here to be talking to you all, standing on the mountain of life in the land of Israel. Amen. Blessings to you all. הצלחות. אתם תראו ברכה במעשה ידיכם, ממש. בעזרת השם, בשורות טובות, ישועות ונחמות. אמן.